All right, hi everyone. We're going to do a review of pages 161 through 168. We're going to work through some of the problems. I'm going to give a couple of comments here and there, but these videos are to make sure that you have the right answers on your pages that you did over the last 2 weeks, okay? So we're going to go in. I'm on page 161. You are looking at page 162, but just so we review real quick, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. You guys read that on page 161. Then an antecedent is a noun for which a pronoun stands. And we're going to do an exercise right now here in Think A, where we're going to not only look for the pronoun, but also look for the antecedent. But before we continue, there are various kinds of pronouns. Pronouns which refer mainly to persons are called personal pronouns. And there's a list on page 161. Personal pronouns refer to the person speaking, so this is the one speaking, are I, me, my, mine, we, us, our, and ours. And then the person spoken to, you, your, yours, and then the person spoken about, he, him, his, she, her, hers, it, its, they, them, their, theirs, okay? And so we're going to be looking for these personal pronouns in Think A and Think B, okay? So Think A, underline each personal pronoun in the following sentences, and I've already done that. Then number 2, draw an arrow to the antecedent of each pronoun. Remember, the antecedent is the noun for which the pronoun stands for. So let's read number 1. Ryan, mother said that she was proud of you, praised dad, okay? We see our 2 personal pronouns are she and you. Now we need to find the antecedent of the pronoun she, or the noun that it stands for. So she refers back to mother, so we draw an arrow to mother. The antecedent of she is mother. Then we go to you. We need to find the antecedent to you. The antecedent to you, the noun that stands, that the pronoun stands in place of, is Ryan. Okay, so you stands for Ryan. Next, number 2. Ethan cannot wear his new shoes. They are much too small for him. All right, our first personal pronoun, they. They references back to shoes, the noun. And then the pronoun him references all the way back to Ethan. Okay, so your arrow should be drawn back to Ethan. This was in several of our quizzes we worked on as well. Number 3, the mongoose is much fiercer than it looks. Okay, so we've got a pronoun here, it. It is taking the place of or standing for mongoose. So you could say the mongoose is much fiercer than the mongoose looks, okay? But instead of writing the mongoose and it being redundant, we put a pronoun instead. Then we have Kyle can pronounce the word, but he cannot spell it correctly. Okay, we have the pronoun its, and it references back to word. Okay, oh, and I missed one here. I got he references back to Kyle. Okay, so Kyle is the antecedent to he, and word is the antecedent to it. Again, we could do the same thing. Kyle cannot pronounce the word, but can pronounce the word, but Kyle cannot spell the word correctly. You see how he takes the place of Kyle and it takes the place of word, making Kyle and word the antecedents to he and it. Next, JJ replied, I went to the store, but it was closed. Okay, so I references back to JJ. So JJ is the antecedent to I, and then it is the antecedent to store, okay? Same thing. So you could say JJ, if he's talking in the third person, JJ went to the store, but the store, okay, was closed. You see how the pronoun it is standing in the place of store. All right, next for Think B, we have a fun little story. In this selection from The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Graham, Mr. Toad shows his skill with many kinds of pronouns. He also shows his exalted opinion of himself. Underline the 24 personal pronouns which are used. Other types of pronouns which you will be studying later, have been underlined for you, okay? So in this next portion of our exercises, you're going to be underlining the pronouns. So I'm going to go through it with you. Make sure you have all 24 of the personal pronouns underlined. All right, so let's read it. Ho, ho, I am the toad, the handsome, the popular, the successful toad. Already we found our first one. I is the first personal pronoun we find, so we make sure we got that underlined. He got so puffed up with his conceit that he made up a song as he walked in praise of himself and sang it at the top of his voice, though there was no one to hear it but him. Okay, several pronouns already. He is the second one. Next, we got another he underlined. Himself has been underlined for you. We're going to study that in the possessive case pronouns later. Then we have it, which is referencing back to the song. His, its, him, it. So you got to make sure you have all those underlined. Next, in our next portion, this was the song he sang. The world has held great heroes, as history books have showed, but never a name to go down to fame compared with that of Toad. The clever men of Oxford know all that there is to be knowed, but they, none of them, know one half as much as intelligent as Mr. Toad. As you guys have gathered, Mr. Toad is a quite intelligent man. Reminds me of someone that's here in the class right now. It's just me in the class right now. Anyway, we've got the pronoun. Okay, so our, this part, there's no personal pronouns that we've studied except for that. That is one of our demonstrative pronouns that we're going to study later. But here we have another that demonstrative pronoun, and we'll go on here. They, none of them. So none has been underlined for you. They and them are what you should have underlined in this selection. The animals sat in the ark and cried. Their tears in torrents flowed. Okay, we've got the personal pronoun there. Make sure you've got that underlined. Who was it said, there's land ahead, encouraging Mr. Toad? Okay, so we've got who underlined for us. That's an interrogative pronoun. And then we've got it. That's one of our personal pronouns, so you should have underlined that. The army all saluted as they marched along the road. Was it the king or the Kitchener? No, it was Mr. Toad. Here we have they, it, and it. Three of these, so three pronouns, three personal pronouns that need to be underlined. The queen and her ladies in waiting sat at the window and sewed. She cried, look, who's that handsome man? They answered, Mr. Toad. What a guy. So you've got her, she, and they that you should have underlined. And whose, okay, another interrogative pronoun has been underlined for you. Okay, then there was a great deal more of the same sort, but too dreadfully conceited to be written down. These are some of the milder verses, okay? So that's not all the song. I personally want to hear the rest of the song. And sorry, my words are a little faded here, but he sang as he walked, and he walked as he sang, and got more inflated every minute. But his pride was shortly to have a severe, that word right there is fall, should not be underlined, but we should have underlined he, and his to make a total of 24 personal pronouns. All right. In the quiz, I'm going to ask you what you think Mr. Toad's name should be. What's his first name? Give me your best suggestion. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks, guys.